And on the GBPUSD, we have been quite profitable on the GBPUSD so far this week here. And let's quickly run through how the week has started for us on the GBPUSD. Then we go into the details for today. Now, the week started with a consolidation phase which lasted about 15 to 16 hours on this chart, as we saw price action trade between the 1.22100 level and the 1.21700 area to give us an indecisive phase in this market. And you all know what we look out for whenever we have this kind of setup. We want to see price action either break out of the channel to the upside for buying opportunities or break down the channel to the downside for selling opportunities. But what happened here on Monday was quite interesting. We saw the breakout retest. Even during the live session on Monday, we were able to take advantage of this bullish momentum as price action moved significantly well in our favor to the upside, moving with about 70 pips in profit before we begin to see the sell pressure resume around the 1.22850 level. We also added another position at the breakout of the 1.22450 level. That same Monday during the New York session. We added another position which also moved about 36-40 pips thereabout before that sell pressure resumed. Now, during the live session yesterday, we identified the structure. And remember what I told you during the live session yesterday. We identified two key structures which we said we shall be using to guide trading activity for that day. Now, one of the structure is this bullish trend line here. So we had a couple of trend lines on this chart. We had the major one here. After connecting the higher lows here, we had the major one, which is the green dotted line on your screen, the thick one I mean. Then we also had the second one, as you see here on Thursday last week. We had a deviation to that bullish momentum, hence we had this temporary bullish trend line, the lighter one on your screen right now. So we had a second one here. Now, what we saw during the live session yesterday that made us to have a rethink of the current structure is the breakdown of that bullish trend line that happened prior to the live session. Then we also saw the price action slicing through the 1.22450 level with an engulfing bearish candle, which gave us a clue that there is a likelihood that price action might be going through a retracement of that previous impulse leg here. And with the situation we identified here, we said we are going to be selling just right below the 1.22450 level, have a sell stop below that structure so that we can join that decline to the downside. And this was exactly what happened 2 hours into the New York session yesterday. We saw price action drop below the 1.22450 level, confirming the sell pressure in this market. And in fact, price action moved about 65 to 70 pips in our direction before the appearance of buy pressure in this market. And for those who are taking advantage of that opportunity, well done to you guys. And I'm sure you moved your stop loss accordingly to secure your position, as you would have made some profit out of that move before the bullish momentum began. And what case scenario, it could be at break even at that point. Then remember what I told you, that whenever price action breaks down that structure to the downside, continues to the downside, we want to see how price action will be reacting to the 1.220 level, which I said shares a confluence with that bullish trend line, that is the major bullish trend line, to determine if we are going to be adding more sell position or getting ready to join a bullish momentum, as price action could actually respect that trend line one more time. And this was exactly what happened, though we had a little breakdown of that structure, which I actually joined anyways, but was taken out at break even. And the appearance of this buy pressure above the 1.2200 level was a beautiful sign to join a bullish momentum. But we needed further confirmations to happen, so we had a structure at the 1.2210 level. And I hope you are part of this move, as price action gave us multiple opportunities to be part of that bullish momentum as we begin to see buy pressure resume just above the 1.22100 level, just right above that bullish trend line, to incite another wave of bullish momentum to the upside. And if you have been part of that move from the 1.22100 level, kudos to you, as you will currently be running with about 70-75 pips in profit right now. And if you had bought it from the 1.2200 level here, you will be running with about 80 to 90 pips in profit at this particular point in time. So what you want to be doing right now is to secure the current position. So well done guys for being on standby to have caught that move. And I think the most appropriate area to secure the current buy position we have in the market right now is just right above the 1.22600 level or around that area, so that we can give room for price action to breathe. And remember, the bullish trend line, the major bullish trend line we identified earlier, which we said is going to be serving as a yardstick for trading activity for this week, appears to still be valid at this particular point in time, as we could have a situation where price could drop back into the 1.22600 level, which also shares a beautiful confluence with our bullish trend line in anticipation of another wave of bullish momentum. So the bullish trend line we have here still remains as our yardstick for trading activity. So as long as price remain above the bullish trend line, we shall feel comfortable in our buy position. So well done guys. I hope you have moved your stop loss, secure your current position. And for those who missed out on this opportunity, let's look at the market together and see if we are going to be having a second chance to join this potential move to the upside. Now, what are our plans for today on the GBPUSD? Well, if we look at the current market structure here, you can see that price is trading around the 1.22850 level, and for the last 3 hours now, we have been seeing some rejection around that area. And if we move left a little bit and go to as far back as the beginning of this week, you will see that we saw selling pressure resume around that area as well at that particular point in time. So right now, the buyers are really struggling around the 1.22850. Hence the need to be very careful and patient to be able to understand what is really going on around that area before joining any position at this particular point in time. And because of the sell pressure identified here, I have advised us to move our stop loss to secure this current position, as we never can tell, sellers could actually take over this market and push price to the downside. So now to buy the GBPUSD around the 1.22850 level, well, for me, I want to see price action take out all the sell position here. We scale down to a much more lower time frame, like the 15 minutes time frame, to see this setup evolve. We need a breakout of that structure to happen, followed by buying pressure above this area to give us an opportunity to add more position to our existing trade. So I will be scaling down to a 50 minutes time frame in a moment, but I quickly want to touch the expectation of selling pressure around this area. Now, if selling pressure resumes around this area to the downside, we don't need to be scared or worried, as we have a bust up at the 1.22600, which also shares a confluence with our bullish trend line, where the possibilities of another bullish momentum could begin around that area, hereby respecting that bullish trend line one more time to incite another wave of bullish momentum. So the 1.22600 level also has a potential for buying power in this market, so we shall be taking that into consideration too, as well as we monitor the current market structure. However, if price action breaks down the 1.22600 level, remember that level shares a confluence with our bullish trend line. And recall that the bullish trend line here is our yardstick for trading activity for this week. So if we get the bullish trend line bridge to the downside, that is broken to the downside, then we might likely be seeing an opportunity to sell the GBPUSD. And if that is going to be the case here, remember, we are not jumping right in right away, as we want to see significant confirmation to give us a clue and confidence to join that sell momentum to the downside. So what we want to be seeing, if price action breaks down both the structure at the 1.22600 level and the bullish trend line, is to see a retracement back into structure. This will happen on our lower time frame, so we are going to be scaling down to like a 5 minutes time frame whenever price gets into that area. 5 minutes, 10 minutes or 15 minutes time frame, look out for retest of structure, selling pressure around that area, signs that buyers are losing momentum, buyers can no longer break above that structure, then we could be thinking of selling the GBPUSD. And with the breakdown of the 1.22450 level, welcome more selling opportunities in this market. In fact, this market also has a potential of giving us multiple entries on this one. So let's be on standby to catch this move when it finally happens. Now, talking about the current situation here around the 1.22850, where I said I need price action to break out, retest this level for me to be able to buy the GBPUSD at this point. So like I said, I want us to scale down to a much more lower time frame, let's say the 15 minutes time frame or the 5 minutes time frame, to look at how price action has been evolving around that area. Now, if you look at the 5 minutes time frame here, what do you see? You can see that we're having a situation here that looks more like a reversal pattern in the form of a double top structure. So if we take this impulsive move into consideration here, we can see that the highest point price got into was around the 1.22975 level. We saw price drop to the downside. Price was unable to break the previous high. As you can see here, price was unable to break the previous high, hereby giving us a lower high at this particular point in time. So we have a potential reversal pattern evolving at this particular point in time. So we need further confirmation for this reversal pattern to be valid or mature for us to be thinking of selling at this particular point in time. So what we need for further confirmation is a neckline area of that reversal pattern, which we shall be identifying to sit at around the psychological level at the 1.22800 level. So for the sake of clarity, let's identify that structure. So we have the 1.22800 level we have here, and I would love to place this at the bottom right hand side of my screen. So what we want to be seeing to sell the GBPUSD is to look out for price breaking down the 1.22800 level, which happens to be the neckline of that potential reversal pattern. Retest of structure, then we could join that decline to the downside. In fact, you could have your sell stop order below that structure, then join right away. Remember, this is a very strong sell zone in this market. You saw what happened on Monday around this area. We saw sharp rejection on our 1 hour time frame, so we could have a sell stop order below the 1.22800 level so that we can join that momentum to the downside. Now, mind you, if we join this momentum to the downside, we want to ensure that as soon as price moves significantly well in our favor, we want to be moving our stop loss accordingly to secure this current position. Now, remember the bullish trend line we identified on the daily time frame. We said the trend line may also be serving as a yardstick for trading activity. So we want to see how price action will be reacting to that level to decide if we are going to be adding more sell position in this market. So if price action breaks down the trend line, break down the 1.22450 level, then we will be adding more position to our sell position in this market. So that is how we want to be selling the GBPUSD from this strong sell zone that was identified around the 1.22850 level. However, to buy around this area, we need price action to take out all the sell positions in this market, finding a new high, and in fact breaking out of the 1.22 hold on a second, let me find that out here. 22200 level, maybe 222999, I guess. So let me just put it like this: 22299. I hope I got that correctly. So I'll place it at the top right hand side of my screen here. So if price action takes out all the sell positions here, breaking out of the 1.22990 level, then definitely we want to be adding more position to our existing trade. Remember, we have a buy positions running. I told us all to move our stop loss accordingly to secure that position. So if a breakout of the 1.22990 level happens, then we should definitely be thinking of adding more position to our existing trade. So that is that on the GBPUSD. It's a very simple setup here, and I hope that we'll be on standby to catch this opportunity when it finally happens. So that is that on the GBPUSD. If you have questions, feel free to drop your inquiries in the comment section.